started way back in 2008 when SEBI did come up with the REIT regulation. But of course, at that point in time, the relative understanding amongst all the industry participants was limited. The REIT regulations also were not absolutely apt for them to be implemented. So obviously, over the next couple of years, a lot of deliberations happen on how should REIT regulations be evolved. And then somewhere around 2012, SEBI, along with a lot of involvement from the industry participants, started working on a new set of regulations altogether. And since I was in some of the task force and committees, subcommittees that SEBI had formed for implementing REIT regulations in India, if you ask me, the actual work on implementation of this started around 2012. SEBI had various consultations with industry players. They went across and saw how REITs are regulated across the world, and then came up with a very, very robust governing structure for REITs in India. And I would compliment SEBI for actually coming up with such a great structure for a country like India. And this was a much needed instrument. As my participants have already said, the panelists have already said, in countries like US, Australia, and even Singapore, Hong Kong, the Asian markets, these products have been for a very long time. They've reached a certain set of maturity. In India, they came in 2014 when SEBI implemented the REIT regulation. But even after 2014, once the REIT regulations were implemented, then there was a need to make sure that there is a proper tax structure also, because if you look at the tax structures internationally, all of them work on principle of one level taxation. So when REITs started off, we did not have a one level tax structure. We had actually multiple levels of tax structure. And then again, SEBI, together with all the industry participants, started working with the government. And then over the next few years, the government also put in a right structure for the REITs and InvITs in the country. And once that happened, we actually saw InvITs and REITs actually getting listed. If I have to talk of REITs, we saw the first REIT getting listed in April 2019. And then, of course, we've had Mindspace REIT and Brookfield also, which came subsequently. REITs, as Rushit has already said, has been extremely integral part of the real estate capital market abroad. Now, even if you look at, say, countries like US, almost 90% of the real estate capital market in US is REITs. Unlike India, in India today, of course, you have coexistence of normal listed real estate companies and REITs. In US especially, almost 90% of the listed companies are REITs. Same is the case with various other geographies like Australia, Singapore, Hong Kong, and so on and so forth. So which effectively actually tells you all how important have REITs become to the sector and also to the capital market. And in India also, you will actually start seeing this trend wherein over a period of time, all the yielding assets. So what I mean when I say yielding assets, that essentially office assets, or for that matter, retail malls, anything which is generating income. Now, those are the assets which eventually will get listed as REITs as the markets are already growing and getting deeper. So that's a trend we've seen internationally, and we are hoping to see a similar trend in India also as these markets start getting mature. Now, how critical are these to real estate in India? Now, I mean, for all of us who generally understand real estate extremely well, today, if a normal retail investor or an individual investor wants to invest in commercial real estate, obviously it involves huge amount of capital investment. And of course, managing a commercial real estate also needs different skill set. That's where you actually have the REITs, wherein you have a professional manager who's actually managing huge, large portfolios. Rushit already showed that amongst all the Asian countries, in India, we have the largest REITs which are managing huge portfolios. So you have professionally run REITs which are available to even individual investors to invest. All of these REITs have good geographical diversification. They are present across various geographies in the country. So that enables everyone who is participating in the REIT to take exposure to various geographies. So for example, if today I were to invest only in a commercial real estate, then probably I could have done a small investment, say if I'm staying in Mumbai, in a city of Mumbai. But by putting the same investment in a REIT, I'm able to actually diversify my investment and actually take exposure to various markets and actually uh, kind of diversify my portfolio. Having said that, even in terms of the returns, I think it's very critical because there are the two very good qualities of a REIT. One, the REITs are giving you a yield, a distribution yield. Already my panelists have spoken, the distributions are coming in form of interest, dividend, and so on and so forth. And together with that, because real estate has this inbuilt, I would say, feature of appreciation. So like if you look at most of the office contracts, you have escalations which are inbuilt. So your tenants keep giving you escalation in rent every year. So this growth together with, because not necessarily always your rents are escalating in line with inflation. So what happens is, in which case, once your leases come for renewal, you actually catch up on the inflation as well. So besides escalations which are inbuilt in the contract, there are rent reversions also which come to you. So there is a growth factor as well as a yield factor, which is, I think, the beauty of this product. And of course, there's still huge amount of education needed. A lot of retail investors who have started understanding the product. So if I were to look at our journey as Mindspace REIT, we got listed in August 2020. It's been more than a year that we have listed. And we've ourselves seen that over a period, the interest from retail investors has also started increasing. The number of investors in the REITs has started increasing. And we actually thank SEBI also, who's actually amended the regulation and made the unit size also just one unit to actually help retail investors just pick up one unit in REIT like you do with any other share. So today you have that flexibility of just taking one unit and participating in commercial real estate play, which was otherwise not available. So I think, and Ruchit has already said that this is one investment which has color of both stable returns, because you keep getting distribution yield, and most of the REITs today are giving quarterly distributions. So you have consistent cash flows which are coming to you. And at the same time, you enjoy the benefit of capital appreciation over long term. So this is one instrument which has the unique feature of both regular income as well as growth, which you generally don't see in every form of investment. So from that perspective also, for whether it's retail investors or institutional investors, I think this is one instrument which gives a fair combination of both. And I think another very critical point is the way SEBI has laid the entire REIT regulation and the governance structure. Today, the REITs are, if you ask me, have much stricter regulatory environment as compared to normal listed real estate companies also, because the number of regulations that we need to follow is even more than what a normal listed real estate company would be. So from that perspective also, from an investor safeguard perspective also, SEBI has actually put up a very robust regulation. And obviously, as we go along, the regulations are also evolving, changing, to make them more and more investor friendly. Now, having said that, even from, I'll have my other panelist, Mr. Paritosh, who will talk more about funding. But just to spend another 2 minutes on this before I hand over to him, even from a banking perspective or from a lender perspective, REITs today are one of the most secure, I would say, avenue for them to actually lend. Because today, if you look at most of the REITs which are listed, the loan to value, as we call the gearing, is less than 20%. So these are one of the most secured, even from a lender's perspective. Almost all the REITs are AAA rated. So that again makes it, far more secure. And also the consistency of cash flows, and the REIT regulations require at least 80% of the assets which a REIT hold to be income generating. So which effectively means the cash flow consistency is ensured. And even in fact, if you look at the last 18 months of the pandemic, this has been one of the real estate asset class which has shown a great degree of resilience, because most of the rentals have kept coming while many other sectors have gone through patchy waters. Of course, real estate has gone through its own set of challenges, but even then, commercial real estate has shown a significant resilience and consistency of cash flows.